All right. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Tech and Tell podcast. I'm Jacinta Fabi. I'm a product designer, and it's good to have you guys here on another episode. Today we're diving into a topic that comes up in design conversations, and that's the topic of portfolios, right? Specifically, we'll be talking about building a portfolio that actually positions you for opportunities. So we see a lot of product designers, ask questions like, is my portfolio good enough? Why am I not getting callbacks? Um, why are hiring managers, what are they really looking for? And that's exactly what we want to unpack in today's episode. And I'm really excited about today's guest. I'm joined by a product designer who has, built portfolios, who has reviewed portfolios, and also understand what it, takes to make one that stands out. I'm really glad to have them here today. Welcome, Opeyemi. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for having
joining
me.
me here on today's session. Okay. So before we
Nice to meet
like get into it, I want to be clear about, what this episode really is about. It's not about how you can replicate, trendy portfolios that you see online today, or how you can just add, multiple projects to just fill up spaces on your portfolio. It's more about being intentional, with your
you.
storytelling and also showing your thinking like in a way that can attract opportunities or the right opportunities for you. Right. So yeah, let's begin. Let's start with introductions. So Okpe, can you please introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and yeah, any other information you'd like to share?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Jacinta, for having me here.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here. So, my name is Opeyemi Alabi. I am a product designer, and I would say I have close to like 4 to 5 years work experience. And I've worked on projects that span across web and mobile products. So I have a background in graphics. So I started off as a graphic artist before I pivoted into user experience design. So I've worked on different projects ranging from healthcare, e-commerce, logistics, and etc. So aside all this, I still have an agency that I run on the side, which is a branditude,
Yeah.
which is called Branditude NG. So which is more into graphics and printing. But that's just something I do on the side.
Okay.
So thanks for having me once again.
Thank you so much, Okpe, for that brief introduction, and thank you for honoring our invite.
It's an honor once
Yeah,
again.
so yeah. So like getting right into it, right?
Yeah.
So when we hear design portfolio, right, what do you think that most designers misunderstand about its purpose, right? Because a lot of designers, they or beginners rather in design, they might treat portfolios as, very differently from how hiring managers do, right? So their interpretation of a portfolio might differ from what an ideal portfolio is supposed to be, right, or give.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you hear design portfolio, what do you think is the most what do you think most designers or most beginners misunderstand about its purpose?
So, thank you for this question. I feel like let me start with the young designers.
Mm-hmm.
When they hear portfolio, submit your portfolio, you need to have a portfolio as a product designer. They feel like it's something that is too hard, especially for those ones that are just coming into the field, too hard for them to put together. For me, I think it should be taken as something that is very simple,
Okay.
simple in the sense that it should encompass or show what you are capable of, your level of thinking when it comes to solving problems. So a lot of them also feel like they should have this fancy looking portfolio with animation sliding in, sliding out,
Yeah.
colorful and all that.
Yeah.
But from my experience, should I say HR or interviewers are not actually interested in all that because
Mm-hmm.
let's think about it. For an HR personnel that wants to review about 2,000 plus CVs and
Mm.
portfolios, they don't really have that much time to, go through all the details. They just need, most of them just, scan through the page and then they look for minute details. They know what they're looking for. And most of the time, it's not just the aesthetics and how it
Yeah.
looks. So I see a lot of young designers trying to, add my portfolio
Mm-hmm.
must be wow. Once you land on the landing page, you must feel the website in terms of the
Yeah.
design. But I think it's far from that. It's far from that. It's usually about you solving a problem through the portfolio.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I can also like relate with that because I also myself I see a lot of, that online where people are focusing more on like a lot of interactions, displays and things like that, which is not bad by the way, but at the same time, you
Yeah.
should try and also focus on the core and the problem that, that they are trying to solve with that portfolio, right? So that also
Yes,
leads
that's
me to
correct.
my next question. So what do you think makes a project for a portfolio ideal, right? Especially when they don't have like real client projects yet. So what kind of projects can they now show or can they now display, right? That can be ideal for their portfolios, even when they don't have real world context projects that they've worked on.
Okay. So during my time, excuse me, when I started as well, I didn't really have that much of an opportunity to work on real life projects, right?
Okay.
So what I did and what I would advise them to do at this point is, there are a lot of applications out there
Yeah.
that still needs improvement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Facebook that we have today, WhatsApp of today, they didn't start with the features that they have currently, right? I
True.
remember WhatsApp started with just basic messaging feature, and now they have stories and the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's always something to improve upon, no matter how good an application
Mm-hmm.
is. There's always something to improve upon. So you can, even if it's an everyday application, you can just think about a flaw. Maybe you are using an application, it could be a banking app, for instance, and then you discover if a user experience issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you as a product designer, you feel like this thing, there's something that can be done about it. You can just pick that up and,
Mm.
create a case study around it, solve that problem. So
Yeah.
I remember there was a time where the federal government, they asked Nigerians, almost all of us, to go and register for our NIN.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to, if you remember, then we had to go and queue, and people had to leave their
Yeah.
work, long. I remember it took me 2 days before I could get mine. So around that time, I came up with a mobile application, right, that can help you generate your NIN within the context of your home. So you don't
Yeah.
have to go outside. You don't have to, join the long queue and leave what you have to do, spend your precious time,
Mm-hmm.
time that you're supposed to be used chasing money and all that, you go and spend it on the queue. So I came up with that application around that time just to show that this thing can be done. You don't
Yeah.
have to stress people, you don't have to make them go through and hassle just to get their NIN. So this is an example, right? You can just think of, I mean, Nigerians of today, Nigeria of today rather, there is so many things going on, and I still believe that a lot of things can be improved upon using technology. So you can just look around you, think of something that can be better using
Hmm.
technology, design it, prototype it, share it online. When I shared mine, in fact, the amount of engagement I got on that post
Wow.
it was I think about when LinkedIn showed me the stats about maybe 50K impression or thereabouts. So I felt like a superstar around that time. And I
Yeah.
got a lot of leads who were messaging me for gigs. Some people want to hire me and all that. So
Mm.
these are the things that young and upcoming designers can start to do and think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I also like the example you gave or the context you gave about how you saw a problem in and that needed a solution and then you
Yeah.
give a solution to it from a product designer's perspective. And I think that's also one of like the key superpowers or key skills that we as designers should have, seeing a problem around you and wanting to solve that problem from
Yes,
the
exactly.
designer's perspective. And also I like where
Yeah.
you said what you said about reviewing other products or other applications, where you can see
Yeah.
problem and, a problem with any feature or their flow or interaction, and then you can, solve that problem. And yeah, to
Yes.
add to what you said, I also talked to like my mentees regarding that, about how they can, go on App Store, Google Play Store, where a lot of people drop reviews, about,
Yes.
yeah, where you can see like maybe a one-star comment, a one-star review, two-star reviews. You can pick up those kind of
Yes.
comments, yeah, and work on that. So yeah, I think that really makes sense. Seeing other, looking at other products and where they fall short, and see how as a product designer you can improve those features. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Thank
It
you very
does. It
much for
does.
that. So talking about beginners still and their portfolio. So at what point, right, in their journey do you think they should start building a portfolio? Like what time is right for them to start? Because a lot of people can be confused. They might be like, okay, I don't know a lot of things there. What do I want to put in my portfolio? I've not worked anywhere. What do I want to put? Do I even need one now? So at what point do you think is ideal for them to, build a portfolio for themselves?
Yeah, thank you for this question. So for me, there is a lot of junior designers these days are kind of in a haste. They want to different people have different motivators why they're entering this field. But
Mhm.
I see a lot of them probably they are inspired by somebody with what they have achieved, which there's nothing bad in that. But I feel like you should before you start to think about portfolio, you should have at least understand the user experience fundamentals,
Okay.
understand what's problem solving, what it really means, how
Yeah.
you as an individual can think of a problem and solve it.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that there are different kind of different ways of solving problems. There's the design thinking, and then we also have the is it the divergent formula. There are lots of them out there. You need to study these ways of solving problems digitally, right?
Yeah.
Before you can say you want to think about creating a portfolio. And before, again, let me add that when you understand these things, I mean the basics,
Mhm.
also more like what you just iterated on, you can look at the reviews online, think about what you can improve on the existing product. You coming from that background, understanding the fundamentals, and
Yeah.
then trying to solve a problem. So what you have learned on that foundational stage, then you
Mhm.
start to apply it by trying to put up your case studies together. So at that point, then I think you're ready because you've understand what it takes, what it requires before you start to say you want to, put up a portfolio together.
Mm. Okay, so in that same light now, how many projects do you think they can ideally have on their portfolios, and like how many projects do you think they can have on their portfolio, and also how do you think they can decide what projects they should have on their portfolio, because they might be confused. There are a lot of problems to solve, right? So what kind of project should they have on their portfolios, and how many do you think is ideal for them?
Okay, so my mentor then told me that
Mhm.
max you should have is 3 to 4.
Okay.
So, and I've done a lot of research around this.
Mhm.
Most senior product designers that I know as well have 3 to 4 max, and these 3 to 4 can span across different industries or
Okay.
problems. Some can be a mobile application, it can be a fintech app, for instance. Another one can be in the health sector. Another one can be something you've researched or done for the government parastatals. So
Mhm.
you have to like try and touch up on different industries. Don't say, for instance, now you like to design fintech applications and then use all the products, all the project I'm seeing up on your portfolio are fintech applications. So let's say an HR personnel now. I want to hire for an hospital, for instance. So
Mhm.
me just saying fintech, I'm going to feel like automatically this person is more inclined into the fintech area. So they might
Yeah.
not want to hire you. So
Yeah.
try and be and be what's the word now? Is it diversify or dynamic? Don't
Yeah.
just be too strict. Try and expand your thoughts, and then your portfolio should try and cover as many areas as possible. So to answer the question, I think 3 to 4 maximum. For me personally, I feel like 5 is too much.
Yeah.
So maximum you should have is 4, and these 4 should be well thought through. They should
Mm.
have a problem. They should contain the process of solving that problem, and then you should have the solution. So those three key areas I think are important for each of those projects. Number one is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, tell us the problem. Do
Mm.
you yourself understand what you're trying to solve?
Okay.
So once you do that, okay, what are the process? What mechanisms do you want to adopt or apply to solve that problem?
Mm-hmm.
So the last one is once you solve the problem, okay, so what is the solution? What is going to answer to those questions that you've itemized under the problem statement section? So these three things I think are critical in every project you should have on your portfolio.
Hmm. Okay. So that's very, very very informative because most beginners, I say, just to trade back to what you said earlier about them wanting to show a lot of interactions and things like that. I just wanted
Yeah.
to show like polished screens, finished screens, and not wanting to show their entire process, right? So I don't know if we can go deeper into what a strong case study should communicate aside those final screens. Do you get like what are those strong things they have to like touch that are non-negotiable that they have to like touch points on in their portfolio aside just showing, the screens and polished designs.
Yeah. So I think it's critical for us to detail the process at which we are applying to solve this problem.
Okay.
So my portfolio, the most important thing, it's a project, right? You want to tell
Yeah.
the world what you have achieved. You've solved the problem, right? Now you want to tell us how you've solved that problem. So I just hinted on three most important factors I think every project should have. You should understand the problem. Sometimes when I look at portfolio, I'm looking at the projects, and then you're just showing me the polished screens. They
Mm-hmm.
can look fantastic. They can look nice, the colors,
Mm-hmm.
everything top notch. But I don't understand what the problem is. What are you even solving? So first of all, you have to create it like a story, like you're telling a story, right?
Okay.
From
Yeah.
the beginning, tell us the challenge. What are people going through? This is when you now create I don't want to go into the details,
Yeah, just
because of
surface
time. You
level.
create
Yeah.
personas, exactly, all of those things. So these are what you do on what I call the stage one of it. Let us understand what the problem actually is. So once we understand the problem, okay, so how do we take it forward now? You
Mm-hmm.
can define the problem, then you start to talk about ways at which you can solve the problem. So maybe you are going to conduct user research, you're going to even conduct product research, competitive analysis, what is out there before you even say you want to start the actual designs. So these are the things that a lot of recruiters will be interested in seeing on your portfolio. They don't just to see the polished screens as you have said. They want to see the process,
Yeah.
emphasis on the process that's involved in you
Mm-hmm.
solving this problem. Because if you truly understand the processes involved, you should be able to apply those processes to solve any kind of problem that they might have, regardless of the industry that they even operate in.
Yeah. Yeah. So knowing these ideal steps now and this ideal process that is supposed to be included or that is non-negotiable for your portfolio, right? And with things that
Yes.
you're seeing out there with beginners, what are some of the common mistakes that you've noticed with their portfolios that you believe that can limit opportunities for designers?
So the mistakes some of these young designers make when it comes to creating the portfolio is number one, I will start with the platform, right?
Okay.
If you send me a link to your portfolio and then I'm seeing a dribble link,
Mm-hmm.
I might not take you serious. If it's on Behance, yes, okay, a lot of people are on Behance, right?
Okay.
But there are a lot of platforms these days that allows you to host your portfolio. Even
Okay.
if you are, sorry, excuse me, if you are a beginner, right? You might not have that financial resources to buy domain and hosting and all of that. You can still do Behance, which is quite normal. But if you can, I think it adds a bit of professionalism to your portfolio if they can see a custom name, domain name to the URL. So that's by the side. So some of talking about the mistakes now that they make, I see that going back to the amount of projects again now, some have like eight projects on their portfolio. That's number one,
Mm.
is a red flag. Nobody have that time to go through its projects on your portfolio. So just
Yeah.
keep it short. So again, when you are uploading, let's talk about a project that I worked on as an
Okay.
instance. So you should know the project now. Um,
Which one?
Agent a mobile application then.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
back then I did verify. Yes. So this project, the very first time I did a case study, it was on this project, right? I
Okay.
was so much impressed. I put almost everything I had there was screenshot exported from Figma. No detailed explanation as to the process at which I achieved some of those
Mm.
final screens. So I was just putting screenshots on mockups and all that from the beginning till the end. So I think I did the same thing for a few of my projects, and then realized that I was not getting anything from my portfolios.
Yeah.
And then I would submit a link, submit CV and all that. I wasn't getting the call back until somebody had to review my portfolio, and then made me realize that I was not, being detailed in my process. I
Mm.
was just focusing on the finished, the polished screens,
Yeah.
and a lot of recruiters are not, interested in that.
Mm.
So they most of them just focus on the process, right? You can go as I've seen portfolios where people would go as far as sketching on a piece of paper. It could be with a pencil or a pen. That is the process you're showing. Maybe it could be a low fidelity prototype that you're just displaying. All of these counts. It shows that you really understand what you are doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can solve a problem that they might have. So yeah, I've mentioned the amount of projects you should have, and also
Yeah.
detailing the process that you take. So one final one I would say is don't copy too much. In fact, everybody, so there's a book I read, right?
Mm.
It's about copying or stealing from others. There's no harm in copying, right?
Mm.
You see some case studies these days, and then you're like, "What, this it looks like I've seen this thing somewhere." So if
Mm.
you're stealing, and then, okay, don't let me use that word. Maybe that might be too sensitive. So if you're
Gotcha.
copying,
Yeah.
right, from other person, try and add your own flair to it, and don't just make it distinctive, so that that's what creativity is all about.
Hmm. Yeah. So the book you read, is it like a soft copy or hard copy?
It's a hard copy, but these
Oh,
days you can always find a soft
soft.
copy of these books
Okay.
online.
Okay. I was going to ask for the soft copy so I can include it in the description, but
Oh, sure, I can get that for you.
okay, okay, no problem. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So still on portfolio beginners and designers. So how often do you
Okay.
think that designers should revisit or update their portfolio as they grow? How often should they reassess their portfolios?
So me, I think personally, I'm also guilty of this, right?
Mhm.
I can't remember the last time I touched my portfolio. I think it should be close to a year now, which is not a good thing as a product designer.
Yeah.
Your portfolio should be like a living platform where you upload your project as you're working on them. Me not having the chance to, touch it for some time is because I've been quite busy, shipping projects and all that. There's no time to go and do that. But my advice to product designers out there is your case study, you're working, right? It could even be a part of it that you want to share. That is also, see, your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter, your Facebook and social media platform that you are using currently, they can also serve as a place of portfolio for you. Right. So not just when somebody clicked on the link. And these
Yeah.
days, if not that I want to recruit you, or there's something I actually want to get from your portfolio, I will not go to that URL. Could be a Behance or a link to your portfolio. So you can put yourself out there more, document your case studies as you're working on the project. It
Mm-hmm.
could be section by section, by milestones. You can just write something about them. What problem are you solving at that point in time? Write about it. Write
Mm-hmm.
about the solution as well. Let people see that you know what you're doing. You understand what it takes to become a product designer in 2026. So try and document your processes, what you're working on as you do them. Don't wait till they are. they are finished, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes you get too engrossed in the project and you don't really realize that the time have gone and then the product has shipped and then you're working on something else. So there's no time to really go back to go and write that case study. So you can document on social media, like I've just said, and
Mhm.
then when you have the time, then you can properly take the time to put it on the portfolio.
All right. Thank you very much, Okpe. And just checking our time. Lastly, what
Yeah.
advice would you give to designers that feel like their portfolio is not good enough, or they don't even know where to begin, or people just designers that are basically confused in regards to their portfolio and how good enough or not good enough it is. What advice in general would you give to them?
Okay, so I would say take things easy. I know there's a lot of pressure out there, especially now that people are posting screens about AI and stuff, but that's a discussion for another day. So
Yeah.
just work on your at your own pace, right?
Mhm.
Don't don't try to look at other people's progress to compare with your own.
Yeah.
Just walk at your own pace again. Don't rush. Of course, take time to ship out something that is good. So if you can take inspiration from somebody's work, there is no harm in that. Just ensure that I'm emphasizing don't rush, because when you rush, you just want to put things out there. Let me just have something on my portfolio.
Yeah.
You're going to end up, putting something that is not of a good quality on your portfolio, and it's not going to do you any good. So my final advice would just be take it easy
Mhm.
while you ship quality case study.
All right. Thank you very much, Ope. This has been such a very valuable conversation, right? And if there's one thing I hope designers take away from this episode or this conversation is that your portfolio doesn't need to be perfect. Like Ope said, don't rush.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it just needs to be clear and intentional, right? Um,
Exactly.
yeah, thank you so much, Ope, for sharing your insights and your experience. Thank you so much.
My
I really
pleasure.
appreciate it. Yeah, and to
My
everyone
pleasure.
listening, yeah, if this episode helps you, share it with a fellow designer or revisit your portfolio with a very fresh lens after everything that Ope has shared with us today. And yeah, so until next time, please keep learning, keep designing, and keep telling your story. Yeah, thank you very much and have a good evening, Ope. Take care.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Yeah. problem.